The rasa the ॐ सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यः ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यः वंशर्षिभ्यः महद्भ्यः नमो गुरुभ्यः Page 10, passage 23. यद्वै तन्न पश्यति पश्यन् वै तन्न पश्यति न हि द्रष्टुः दृष्टेः विपरिलोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः अन्यद्विभक्तं यत् पश्येत् यद्वै तत् न पश्यति तन्न पश्यति तत् न पश्यति तत् means तत्र तत् तत्र सुषुप्तौ आत्मा न वै पश्यति. That in Sushupti, on a deep sleep state, the self does not see anything. That is our experience. So Upanishad says, so what you think, Upanishad asks us, that you think that in the deep sleep state, the self does not see anything. Yes, sir, Swamiji. In deep sleep state, we do not know anything. We do not know anything in general. We do not know anything in particular. In the waking state, we know things in general and in particular. In dream also, we know things in general and particular. In deep sleep state, we do not know anything in particular. Therefore, that our conclusion is that in deep sleep state, that Atma or I do not see anything. That is not quite right. That I do not see anything in deep sleep state is not quite right. Yadvai tanna pashyati, pashyan vai tanna pashyati. Pashyan, seeing. Pashyanvai tanna pashyati, seeing there in deep sleep state, he does not see. So our conclusion that in deep sleep state I do not see anything. Upanishad says, Pashyanvai, in the deep sleep state, Atma sees. And seeing he does not see. Pashyan means seeing. Seeing the Atma does not see anything. How do you say that he sees? Sarupa Chaitanyena Sarvasakshitvat, because it is the nature of Atma, that is consciousness. Swarupam, the essential nature of the self, is consciousness, and that is consciousness which is self effulgent, self revealing, and therefore it is always evident, is always manifest, and therefore we are always aware of ourselves. It cannot be that I am not aware of myself. Every waking moment, I know that I am, and that I know because I am conscious, that I am and that I am conscious is something that is self-revealing. That is the nature of Atma. The question Atma always sees, in the sense that Atma is always evident. Pashyanvai tanna pashyati. While seeing, he does not see. While seeing, meaning that while being evident, as consciousness in general, while being evident, so Atma is seeing, but does not see anything in particular. So, as we said yesterday, in order to see something particular, such as flower, not only do I require consciousness, which is my nature, but I also require mind and require the organ of perception. To see particular, such as a name and form, such as a flower, I not only require the self that is always shining and that illumines, and still for this particular perception, I require mind as well as sense organs, then only I can be aware of an entity such as a flower. So in deep sleep state, Pashyan, so Atma is seeing, meaning because to see is its nature. To see, to be conscious, to illumine, to shine, I should say. To shine is the nature of Atma because Atma is consciousness, self-shining. So it never ceases to see. It never ceases to shine because to shine is its nature. Just as the sun never ceases to shine because to shine is the nature of sun. We may not see the sun because the earth turns around, therefore, maybe the sun is not there, we may say, or sun is set or whatever. But as far as the sun is concerned, he is ever shining. But na pashyati, even though Atma is of the nature of consciousness, always shining, still seeing, meaning seeing means shining. So seeing means shining, it does not see. So seeing Atma does not see. Just as when we go to a pitch dark room, then we see and still do not see. We see because our eyes are open, our eyes are functioning, so we say, I see. However, there's nothing particular to see because to see anything particular, it needs this light which illumines the particular aspects of this object. Therefore, in order for us to see this object, not only do I need eyes, which are the instrument of seeing, but also require this external light to illumine this object. So even when my eyes are open and eyes are seeing, I may not see an object such as flower if this flower is not illumined by light, isn't it? What we call darkness is that there's no light to illumine. Mom, I don't see anything. Come on, get your shirt from that room. I don't see anything because the room is dark. He doesn't know that you switch on the light and then that's what was implied by mother. But he just went to the room. Mom said, go to that room and find your shirt. I don't see anything. But seeing he does not see. He sees that he does not see anything. When the child goes to a dark room, then when he says, I don't see anything, he sees and still does not see. Sees because to see is the nature of the eyes, but does not see anything particular. So two things are said here. Pashyan, always seeing, na pashyati, does not see. So how come seeing he does not see? So first of all, Pashyan he always sees. Why? Upanishad says, Nahi drashtuhu drashtehe viparilopo vidyate. Drashtuhu of the seer. Drashtu means seer. The sixth case of the word drashtu is drashtuhu. Drashtuhu of the seer. Drashtehe, we said last night. Drashti means the sight or seeing. So drashtehe is the sixth case of the word drashti. Drashtuhu drashtehe. Drashtehe of the sight, seeing. Drashtuhu of the seer. The seer's seeing never ceases to be. Seer's seeing never ceases to be because to see is the nature of seer. You can say the sun witnesses everything on the earth. The sun is the witness of what is going on the earth. And his witnessing never ceases. We call him witness. But sun really is. Sun does not perform the function of witnesses. Sun is and sun shines. We call him witness because everything on the earth is illumined, so we imagine sun witnessing everything, but sun is and shining in its own light. So also Atma is and shines in its own light of consciousness. And the idea is that in deep sleep also Atma continues to shine. Nahi drashtuhu drashtehe viparilopo vidyate. Atma, that is a seer, the seeing or the sight of the seer never ceases to be because to shine is the nature of Atma. Therefore, it never ceases to shine. In waking, dream, deep sleep, which are the states of the mind, so mind undergoes various changes or transformations, and those we call waking, dream, deep sleep. And Atma or self is always a sakshi or the witness of the mind of what's going on. Even now also, various thoughts occurring in my mind are illumined by the Atma, illumined by consciousness. So we say self is a conscious witness of all the thoughts. Not that there is any will of witnessing on the part of consciousness, but just by being there, by shining, it illumines the thoughts, and therefore we say that self or the Atma witnesses the thoughts. Like the sun witnesses the objects on the earth. So yadvai tanna pashyati, pasyanvai tanna pashyati. That people think that in deep sleep state that there is no knowledge at all, that one does not see anything at all. Seeing, while seeing, he does not see. Why do you say while seeing? Because nahi drashtuhu drashtehe viparilopo vidyate. The sight of the seer never suffers a cessation. Seer, we call him seer, but factually to see is the nature of Atma. And therefore, that nature always remains. Nature does not depend upon anything else for it to be. Fire is hot not because of any reason, it is hot because to be hot is nature. If something made fire hot, then it's possible that fire may not be hot now and then. For example, to shine is not nature of the fluorescent lights. Therefore, it is possible that the fluorescent light may not shine. Or to turn is not the nature of the fan. Otherwise, possible that sometimes the fan may not turn. But similarly, but then the nature never, in short, nature never ceases to be. The fire is hot, it remains hot because to be hot is without any reason, without any effort. Similarly, sun shines without any effort, therefore, it always shine. So also, Atma is conscious. Atma shines. In a secondary sense, we call Atma a witness. Because in presence of Atma, everything takes place, all thoughts take place. Thoughts are illumined by the Atma, and therefore we imagine Atma illumining all thoughts. So we say Atma is the witness of all thoughts. Witness is a designation that we give because all thoughts are illumined. And so, in a secondary sense, Atma is called the witness. He is called Drashta. Atma is called seer or the witness. And the Drashta or Drishti, the seeing of the seer, never suffers. He always continues. Sight of seer never ceases to be, meaning that to see is the nature of Atma. To shine is the nature of Atma. To be illumined is the nature of Atma. It never ceases to shine. And therefore, whether it is deep sleep also. The deep sleep looks like it's all dark and nothing is known. So yesterday also we raised a question. If consciousness is the nature of Atma, then how come we are not aware of things in deep sleep state? To be conscious is the nature of Atma. Therefore, in deep sleep also, Atma is conscious and shining. How come we do not know the state of deep sleep? We are aware of the waking, we are aware of the dream. And how come we are not aware of the deep sleep state? Right now, I know the waking world. In dream, I know the dream world. In the deep sleep state, how come I do not know the deep sleep state world? Atma, how come he does not know? Because to know, not only require you the knower, you require the instrument of knowledge, such as the mind and sense organs, and those instruments are not there in deep sleep state. So, Pashyan Vaitanna Pashyati. While seeing, meaning that because to see is the nature of Atma, that he always sees, na Pashyati, but in order to see particular. So, two kinds of seeing is involved now. One is seeing that is the nature of the self. Other is a seeing that is a particular seeing of an object such as a flower. So Atma always sees, Atma is always conscious, Atma always shines, Atma always reveals. But whether or not he sees an object such as a flower requires not only Atma, but also the mind and also the sense organ. So what is deep sleep? Deep sleep is that in which the mind and the sense organs have gone to sleep, or they have merged into their cause ignorance. So mind is not functioning, sense organs are not functioning, deep sleep. Therefore, we do not have particular knowledge. We have in waking state, we have the general knowledge that I shine, particular knowledge that I know the flower and ghata and pata, etc. In deep sleep state, the general knowledge does not cease to be because that is the nature of Atma. But the particular knowledge is not there because the mind and sense organs that are required to reveal the particular aspect of an object are not there in the deep sleep. Therefore, in the deep sleep state, we don't have Vishesha Jnanam, we don't have Samanya Jnanam and Vishesha Jnanam. Samanya Jnanam, knowledge in general, that Atma always has because it always shines. Vishesha Jnanam, particular knowledge of a name and form that not only requires Atma, also requires mind and sense organ, and therefore they are not there in deep sleep, so the Vishesha Jnanam is not there. So when you say, I don't know anything in deep sleep state, it means that I do not have Vishesha Jnanam. I do not have particular knowledge. But then that I know that I shine is very much true in the deep sleep state. Pashyanvai tanna pashyati. While seeing, he does not see. While seeing, while shining his consciousness, he does not see, he does not have the particular knowledge because the mind and sense organs which are required for particular knowledge are not functioning in the deep sleep state. Why do you say that he sees? In the deep sleep state, what makes you say that Atma sees? Because if we see if Atma is seeing, then how come he is not aware of the deep sleep state? Atma sees because to see is the nature of Atma. Nahi drashtu drustehe viparilopo vidyate. Drashti, the seeing. The seeing of the seer never suffers a cessation. Meaning that the seer never ceases to see. Seer is always seeing. Seer is always shining. To shine the nature of Atma, therefore, that never suffers a cessation. Meaning Atma never ceases to shine. Avinashitvat, because Atma is Avinashi, Atma is eternal, and therefore the eternal light of the self never ceases to be. But then, if Atma is shining in deep sleep state, then how come we are not aware of what is in deep sleep state? So, this is the problem that the Buddhas have. You say that Atma is consciousness, then deep sleep also we should be conscious. In deep sleep, we are not conscious of anything. Therefore, they say that Atma is unconscious in deep sleep. Unconsciousness is the basis of the universe. Unconsciousness or no, Atma does not exist in deep sleep. Had it existed, then it would know. Since Atma does not know anything in deep sleep, therefore, he does not exist. The non existence is the ultimate reality. Anyway, this is the Buddha thinking. And they say that if Atma existed in deep sleep state, then how come you are not aware? That question is answered here that in order to be aware, not only should Atma be shining, but should also the mind and sense organs also should be functioning in order to know the particular object, such as a flower or a pot. So Upanishad says, Natu tad dvitiyamasmi asti tatah anyad vivaktam yat pashed. Natu tad dvitiyamasmi. For seeing, I require a flower that is different from me. For me to see, the seeing a flower and the seer eye should be different. So two entities must be there, the seer and the seen, in order for the seeing to take place. That setup is not there in deep sleep state because all the seen is merged into ignorance, and therefore the dvitiyam, the second thing that is there, such as flower, is not there in deep sleep state, which would create the perception of the flower or perception of any object. Dvitiyamastmi tata vibhaktam anyata. So, number one, tata vibhaktam, that flower is different from me and I am different from flower. That duality must be there, and yet it must be different from me. That setup must be there for the perception to take place. In waking state, the flower is different, the object is different, the subject is different, and therefore I see this object. In deep sleep state, the subject object duality is not there. What creates the subject object duality is the mind and sense organs, and they're all merged in ignorance. And then, when deep sleep state, the duality of subject object is not there. And therefore, you do not see things even when they are there. Not there when we are sleeping that the world ceases to be. The world may be there, but for me it is not there because my mind and sense organs are not functioning. Anyat vivaktam yat pashed. Meaning that the experience of deep sleep, that I do not see anything, I do not know anything, should not be interpreted as my absence. If I was awake in the deep sleep, the Atma is awake. If I was awake in deep sleep state, how come I was not aware of what is in deep sleep? I'm awake in waking state and I'm aware of what's going on around me. Similarly, in dream state also, I'm aware of the dream world. So I'm aware of the waking world, I'm aware of the dream world. Similarly, should I not be aware of the deep sleep world? Because to be aware is my nature, so I'm always aware. So then in deep sleep state also, should I not be aware? I don't think I'm aware because had I been aware in deep sleep, then I would know what's going on. Since I do not know what is going on, therefore, looks like I'm not aware in a deep sleep state. It says no, that you are not aware of things, you do not see, is not because they are not there, but that they're all merged into ignorance, and therefore the duality of subject object is not in a deep sleep state. The seer seen duality is not there, and that's the reason why you do not see. So deep sleep state has always been a contention. What waking state is clear, dream state also is clear. And this deep sleep state is a contention, therefore there are different views also that exist. And that's why the Buddhas came to the conclusion of non-existence in deep sleep. But there cannot be non-existence in deep sleep because, as Dakshinamati Stotra says, that when I wake up, so when I wake up in the morning, I know that I who was sleeping is the one who is woken up. Uh, hmm? Yes, the last line. So Rahu Grast Divakaran Sadhru Maya Samachhadanat Sanmatra Karanopasamahardo Yogut Sushuptapan Pragaswapsamiti Prabodh Samay Yah Pratyabhignayate. So it's called Pratyabhignya, recognition. Cognition and recognition. See, I cognize the flower. I cognize various objects. However, I also recognize that this is the same flower that was here yesterday. That's called recognition. Cognition, seeing the flower. And recognition, recognizing that this is the same flower. Seeing you is one thing. Recognizing that you are the same person who was there yesterday is also very important. Merely seeing is not enough. But recognizing, that's called recognition, pratyabhignya. Then I can continue, I can, communicate to you, assuming that you know what we talked about yesterday, that you are the same person. Otherwise, you would start new all over again every day. If I did not recognize that you're the same person that you were yesterday, then that you're a new person, then you'll start all over again. See, recognition is a very important thing. Our vyavahara, all and transactions take place because of not only cognition that I perceive, but recognition. I perceive that you are the same person. Then I can say, hey, return my $100 or whatever, I gave you yesterday. Or, okay, I'll take you to, Chotiwala because you took me to other place yesterday or whatever. So this vyavahara requires the continuity of the vyavahara can be there only when there is recognition. The continuity would not be there had there been no recognition. That I recognize you as the same people who were there last night, so we can continue. That is how this vyavahara goes on. If I did not recognize you, that you are new people, cognition is one thing that I cognize you. Recognize means I recognize that you are the same person. If the recognition is not there, then vyavahara would be very difficult. You will start all over again every day. But so this is called pratyabhijna, recognition. Cognition is perception, recognition. So when I wake up in the morning, I recognize that I am the same person who was sleeping. Pragas swapsamiti pravodasame yah pratyabhijnayate. Pragas swapsam. I was sleeping earlier and that one has woken up. Otherwise, every morning, oh, a new person has woken up. Where am I? It's a new world. Suppose the recognition was not there. The I who has woken up is the same entity who went to sleep. And every morning I thought that a new person has woken up. If the recognition was not there, then every morning I wonder at the world, where am I? What is this world? What is this? We'll start all over again. But no, I know that I am in Rishikesh. Same Ganga is there, same temple is there, same people are there, same topic is there. So this recognition is a very important thing in our life for our vyavahara or transaction to go on. Otherwise, I don't know how we do function. So therefore, but what about deep sleep? In deep sleep, the thing is that in deep sleep also, when I wake up, that's why the Vedantins say that Sukhamahaswapsam Nakinchit Avedisham. I slept well, I did not know anything because I recognize myself, the same person who was sleeping. And in sleep, it was I who did not know anything. It is in sleep, it was I who was at peace. I was happy. So thus there is this continuity in our life because of recognition. That when I wake up this morning, I know that I'm the same person who went to sleep. Otherwise, if every morning a new person woke up, how would life be possible? Every morning, may I know your name? May I know your name? I am so and so. What is your name? That would have to happen every morning. And then also every minute recognition takes place. If I did not recognize you next morning, every minute I would ask you. Not only I recognize you every morning, I recognize you when I see you in the next class. Otherwise, I would ask for everybody's. So now your introduction. Please introduce yourself. That's not there. So this cognition, I see you. Recognition, I recognize you as the same person. So this is all there. So when I wake up from deep sleep, also the recognition is very much there. न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः अन्यद्विभक्तं यत् पश्येत्. However, the reason why I do not see anything in deep sleep is because there is nothing other than me which I would see. The seer is there. The seer never ceases to be. Then how come you do not see? There is nothing to see. In deep sleep state, there is nothing to see. In waking, I see because you are different from me. The seer, seen, duality is there, and therefore this transaction of seeing takes place. The seeing can take place when the seer and the seen are different, then what I see is different from me, then the seeing can take place. In deep sleep state, I continue to see, but you are not there. How come in deep sleep state I do not see? I see. Because I am awake. Because I am aware. To be aware is the nature of Atma. Then deep sleep state, how come you do not see? Because I don't have other things. They all merged into ignorance. Everything other than Atma has merged into ignorance, including that you are subject, object, duality. All of that has merged. Even though the seer is there, there is nothing to see. Deep sleep state. Tata anyad vivaktam yat pashet, because the object must be different from the subject. The subject object duality is all merged into ignorance in deep sleep state, and therefore the cognition does not take place. That does not mean that I am not there. That, but Swamiji, you are not there in deep sleep state. We cease to be there in deep sleep state. This is the problem. There are people who conclude that we cease to be in deep sleep state. We are not there. Why? Because had we been there, we would have been aware. Because awareness is the nature of Atma, therefore to be aware is my nature. So had I been in deep sleep state, should I not have been aware of what's going on? I am not aware, therefore I was not there. To that this reply is given that you were aware because awareness is your nature. You cannot be not aware. But then the other thing of which, so how do I know I'm aware? I require an object of awareness. Then only I can say I'm aware. That object of awareness is not there because all the duality has merged into ignorance. So don't conclude that you are not there. Don't conclude that Atma is not there. Don't conclude that you are not shining. You're awake. Atma is awake in deep sleep state also. Except that poor fellow has nothing to see. And then subsequent passages are of the same nature. So here in waking state, we have the duality of pramata, pramanam, and prameya. Pramata, prameya, pramanam. Pramata means knower. Prameya means the known. Pramanam, the I in this case, with which I know this object. So this Vyavahara requires these three things, this triad, the knower, known, and knowledge. A knower, known, and means of knowledge. I am the knower, this is a known, eyes are the means of knowledge. When these three are there, then only the perception takes place. In waking state, I am there. But these other two entities are not there, and therefore no perception takes place in deep sleep. Then there are a number of passages which essentially mean the same thing. So next passage says on the page 11, first line. यद्वै तन्न जिघ्रते जिघ्रन्वै तन्न जिघ्रते न हि घ्रातुः घ्रातेः विपर्लोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः anyad vivaktam jajjigre. Pashyati was vyavahara at the level with the eyes. Jigrati means it does not smell anything. Same thing. But as Puja Swami will say, there is no glossing over. Meaning that, all right, this is an example. So they will give you an exercise in school. No, you can, you work out the rest of them. But they work out for us. Upanishad also does not leave anything to chance or into imagination. It addresses everything. So no glossing over. Because somebody says he does not see, but maybe he smells. In deep sleep state, I do not see, but maybe I smell. Says no. Yadvaitanna jigrati, jigranvaitanna jigrati. That he does not smell anything in the deep sleep. He's smelling. Smelling means what? You mean in deep sleep I'm smelling? No. Smelling, he's seeing. He's conscious. But the instrument of smelling is not there. An object of smelling is not there. You require the pramanam, the pramada, prameya, and pramanam. Pramada, the subject, prameya, the object, pramanam, the means of knowledge. So the grata is there, but the other two are not there. So this entity you can describe. So right now I am a seer, then I am a smeller, then I am a taster, then I am etc. So Upanishad addresses every case. So, but Swamiji, I don't see in deep sleep state. Do I smell anything? Says no. Yadvaitan jigardi. You do not smell anything in deep sleep state also. Jigran vaitan jigardi. While smelling, you do not smell. While smelling means what? While being conscious. Seeing you do not see means while being conscious, you do not see. When I'm conscious, I am right now, then the seeing will take place. Smelling also will take place. Tasting also will take place. I am there in deep sleep, other things don't take place. That is because other instruments required for the transaction to take place, they are not there. So Upanishad says, Yadvai tanna jigrati. That in deep sleep state, this person does not smell anything. Jigranvai tanna jigrati. While smelling, he does not smell. While smelling means what? While being aware. When can I see? When I'm an awareful being. When can I taste? When I'm an awareful being. When can I smell? When I'm an awareful being. So my being conscious is the first requirement for me to see, to hear, to smell, to taste. So you can say that since I'm aware, even while I'm seeing, I do not see. While I'm tasting, I do not taste. Not that he's tasting or that he's smelling, but the point is the subject in the act of smelling is there, the other entities are not there. Yad vaitanna jigrati, jigran vaitanna jigrati. While smelling, he does not smell, meaning that while being conscious, he does not smell. Not that while smelling, he does not smell. But who can smell? One is a conscious being. Therefore, you are a conscious being and capable of smelling, had you been provided the means of smelling, but they are not there. Therefore, in a secondary, he said, while smelling, he does not smell. नहीं घ्रातुः घ्रातेः विपर्यलोपो विद्यते. The smelling of the smeller does not cease to be. Avinashitvat. The smeller ceases to be, but smelling does not cease to be. The seer ceases to be, but seeing does not cease to be. See, I'm seer right now in the waking state. In the sleep, I'm no more seer. That doesn't mean I'm not there. Therefore, it is said that the seeing is not there. I mean, seer is not there, but the seeing is there. That means the consciousness is there. Nadu tadvitiyamasti tadanyadvakam yad jigret. That there is no, that another thing, that pramana, prameya, pramata, that vyavahara is not there, therefore it does not smell. Otherwise he would have smelled. Next passage. Yadvai tannarasayate rasayanvai tannarasayate nahi rasayituhu rasayatehe विपर्यलोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः अन्यद्विभक्तं यद्दर्शयेत्. In deep sleep, Swami does not smell, but I guess he must taste things, isn't it? In deep sleep state, does he taste things or not? So no. Yadvaitan narasayate. In deep sleep state, he does not taste anything. Why? Tasting he does not taste. The taster is there. There's nothing to taste. The seer is there. There's nothing to see. The smeller is there. There's nothing to smell. Although I cannot be called smeller unless the object of smelling, an act of smelling is there. But potentially, the smeller is there, the taster is there, the seer is there. Because the tasting of the taster never ceases to be. Avinashitvat, because it is imperishable, but there is no other thing to taste. Therefore, the act of tasting does not take place. You see, understand the way of describing that the self is there, is ever present, ever conscious. So you can say that the taster is always there, smeller is always there, seer is always there. Had he been given the opportunity of seeing, tasted, etc., but the instruments and the infrastructure required for seeing, the infrastructure for seeing. Not only seer must be there, the means of seeing, eyes must be there, the object of seeing must be there. That call it infrastructure. The infrastructure is not there. Therefore, his fellow cannot see, he cannot smell, he cannot taste. Then the next passage says, Yadvai tanna vadate vadanvai tanna vadate nahi vaktuhu vaktehe viparlopo vidyate अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः अन्यद्विभक्तं यद्वदेत्. The Swamiji does not smell. Maybe he speaks in the deep sleep. He does not see. Maybe he smells. No, he does not smell. Maybe he tastes. Maybe he does not taste. Maybe he speaks. No. Yadvaitan navadati. In deep sleep state, he does not speak. But Swami, there are people who talk in the sleep also. My husband, keeps on talking at night. He says, give him a chance during the day, and perhaps it may work out all right. Maybe that's so why person keeps on talking. But here what is meant is that, I don't know this business of Swami, how do you explain sleepwalking? I said, I don't know. Maybe he's not totally sleeping and not totally awake. There is some state in between where he's aware, partially aware of himself and what's going on in his mind manifests through his action. And so he's not aware of the external world. He has that partial awareness because of which that act of talking or walking takes place. But Swamiji, he walks out and walks out, doesn't get lost. In sleep also, when he walks out, he comes back to the same place. That is interesting because he's quite aware as to where he has come from. The sleepwalker fellow, he doesn't get lost. Otherwise, he just walked out and then he got lost, and you find him at Lakshman Jhula or something like that next morning. But that's not so. They say that he comes back to his bed. So that is a problem that we have to analyze. I'm sure medical science analyzes so what kind of consciousness he has. But Yadvaitan vadati, that he does not talk, vadanvaitan, while talking he does not talk, not while talking in a physical sense, while being conscious he does not talk. Ni vaktuhu vakte viperlopo vidyate. The speech of the speaker never ceases to be. Speech here means the consciousness. You see, for any kind of a perception to take place, not only do we require the object organ of perception, the object of perception, but consciousness. So right now I see the flower. Who sees the flower? How does seeing take place? Swamiji, your eyes illumine the flower, therefore you perceive the flower. But had consciousness been not there, you would not perceive. So you say that really consciousness is seeing, consciousness is feeling, is touching, is talking, etc. So therefore, vadanvaitan navadati. While talking or speaking, it does not speak. Meaning speaking highly, the consciousness is there. So who really speaks? Do the eyes see? They cannot see alone. So we have to say that it is consciousness that sees. Had consciousness not been there, the eyes would not be illumined, and then the function of seeing would not have taken place. So who sees? The eyes see or consciousness sees? I know the answer. I know your answer. That is true. So also consciousness sees. Then who smells? Is it nose that smells or consciousness that smells? Even if nose is there, consciousness is not there, as in deep sleep state, no smelling takes place. In waking state, not a nose is there, consciousness is there, therefore the smelling takes place. So who really smells? If nose was smelling, then in deep sleep state also you should experience smelling, isn't it? In deep sleep state also nose is there, no smelling takes place. So who is the real smeller? Consciousness is the real smeller. That's one way of saying. Therefore, Vadanvaitan navadati. In deep sleep state, even while he's talking, he does not talk. Meaning that even though the consciousness is there, so who is the talker? Organ of speech is talker or consciousness is talker? If consciousness is not there, no talking can take place. But Swamiji, talking cannot take place if the organ of speech is not there. All right. But even if organ of speech is there, if consciousness is not there, no speaking will take place. Therefore, you can say that the consciousness is a speaker, consciousness is a seer, consciousness is a smeller, consciousness is a taster. Yadvaitanna vadati, vadanvaitanna vadati. That in deep sleep he does not speak, while speaking he does not speak. So while speaking means what, you know? The deep sleep state, this person does not speak. Upanishad says, while speaking, he does not speak. So, what is meant by while speaking? Now, you know the answer. Just say loudly so I can hear that sound. While speaking means what? That he is conscious. Therefore, he is speaking. Because who speaks? If consciousness is not there, speaking cannot take place. Therefore, in a secondary sense, you can say the consciousness speaks, the consciousness hears, the consciousness sees, etc. Therefore, That he does not speak in a deep sleep state is that consciousness is there. Therefore, speaking is there. Within Vaitannavadi, while speaking, he does not speak because the speaker never ceases to be. The speaker is there, he is speaking. There is consciousness, never ceases to be there, and therefore, so drashta is not there, drashti is always there. Speaker is not there, speaking is always there. Hearer is not there, hearing is always there. Hearer requires the organ of action, a perception. Hearing requires consciousness. In deep sleep state, that consciousness is not there, therefore you don't hear. In waking state, that consciousness is there, so therefore you hear. So who is the real hearer? Consciousness. That is what is meant here. You can't say in Vyavahara that way, but really speaking, who is behind all the conscious activities is consciousness. Of course, you require different organs of perception and organs of action for the Vyavahara to take place, but it can take place only if consciousness is there. In deep sleep, all the other organs are there. Consciousness is not there, then the thing takes place. यद्वै तन्न शृणोति शृण्वन् वै तन्न शृणोति न हि श्रोतुः श्रुतेः विपरिलोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः अन्यद्विभक्तं यच्छृणुयात्. So he does not hear in that state. He is, although hearing, he does not hear. Although hearing meaning, even though he is conscious, he does not hear because the other aspect of hearing, the organ of hearing, the mind are not there. Therefore, while hearing, meaning while being conscious, he does not hear because the other aspects, the means of hearing, etc., are not there. The function of hearing can never be lost. That is, consciousness can never be lost because it is immutable, immortal. यद्वै तन्न मनुते मन्वानो वै तन्न मन्ते न हि मन्तुः मतेः विपर्लोपो विद्यते अविनाशित्वात् न तु तद्वितीयमस्ति ततः अन्यद्विभक्तं यन्मन्वीत. Yadve tanna manote, that in deep sleep state that he does not think. While thinking, he does not think because he is conscious, all right, so that way he is thinking just in a secondary sense and does not think because the dvitiya, the second thing is not there about which it can think. And also, of course, the means of thinking the mind is not there and the object of thinking is not there. Therefore, no thinking takes place, but the very thinker, the consciousness is very much there. Okay, we'll continue next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamad Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.